Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about a beginner's guide to starting carnivore, a crash course to carnivore, your 30 days on carnivore, all of the beginner things I wish I knew before I started, and all of the things that I think it takes to make someone successful. And so let's go through the tools you might need in the kitchen, what you're going to need to stock up on for groceries, the mental fortitude that you might need to eat meat for the next 30 days, and we're going to break down what carnivore is and what it isn't, and how you can be successful in your first month on carnivore, and the resources that I wish I'd had when I started. If you're new here, my name is Allie, and in 2024 I lost 75 pounds with carnivore. Over the next 6 months, ended up gaining half of it back as I just went rampant and ate whatever I wanted. And in February of this year, I decided to give it another shot, and I have been on it ever since and going strong. So I love sharing what I've learned. I love the community that we have built here, and I think it's so helpful to have people to do this with you. So let's go through the things I wish I knew before I started and what it takes to be successful. Starting off strong, let's define carnivore. Carnivore is animal products, and within the broad spectrum of animal products, we are specifically talking meat, seafood, some dairy. There are still things that are animal products that you can't have. So how do you figure that out? Great question. Well, number one, the first thing that could be your compass or your guide is, does it have sugar and does it have carbs? So for instance, milk. Milk is an animal product, should be okay, right? However, when you look at what a cup of milk is, it's 12 grams of carbs, there is added sugar, and so you want to stay away from that. This is a high protein, high fat, essentially zero carb, zero sugar diet. So while things like honey are also coming from animals, at the end of the day, it doesn't check off all the boxes. So if you're using this as a measuring stick, it needs to be an animal product, it needs to be sugar free, and it needs to be carb free. And let me make a quick distinction here. Sugar free things don't have this like free ticket, okay? If it is sugar free pudding, for instance, 0 calories, let's just say a 0 calories, 0 carbs, sugar free pudding. Pudding is not an animal product. You cannot have it. So the first month, you really want to be sticking to meat, seafood, high fat, and raw dairy. That dairy, again, we'll talk about that in a second. But that is framing up what carnivore is. Coffee and tea, other things that, you know, depending on the carnivore that you talk to, they have differing opinions on it. I still drink coffee. I do not drink tea, but I have coffee sparingly. So just be warned, that is the definition essentially of carnivore. The second thing that we're going to talk about is how to be successful off the bat. If you're on the fence of starting carnivore, I understand. I'll tell you why I was on the fence, okay? Number one, I didn't love meat. Number two, the thought of eating meat for every meal literally seemed impossible to me. And my dad always says, you're not doing carnivore for 30 days, you're doing carnivore today. And that has really helped change my mindset. When I look at this far out indefinite future ahead of me of eating carnivore, I can start to be like, what did I sign up for? I hate my life. But when I take it day by day, it doesn't feel like that big of a deal. So you might be looking at carnivore for weight loss. You might be looking at it for, you know, you've heard that it has healing properties and that people have walked away without their autoimmunes anymore, or they feel like they're in remission from things. All of those things are true. And they've happened in my life. They've happened in my parents' lives. They've happened to tons of people that have shared their story here on YouTube and on TikTok. It is completely possible to lose the weight that you've been struggling to lose. It's possible for your body to be performing at like optimum functions and burning fat while you're doing nothing, and all of these things can be achieved through carnivore. So if you've been watching it from the outskirts and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this, I don't know if I want to commit to it, I really encourage you, commit for 30 days. And there have been so many people on here who have been doing the 30-day challenge. We started March 1st on a new 30-day challenge, but today is March 10th. Start again. Start for the next 30 days until April 10th. Say, I'm going to do carnivore. I'm going to give it a fair shot. One of the biggest reasons that I was hesitant about starting on carnivore is because I just didn't feel like it was healthy. I mean, like whenever you look at the amount of red meat and everything they've ever told us about fat and all of the food groups that your body needs, I was like, surely this cannot be healthy. I really started diving into research and realizing that my biggest issues in my body were agitated and caused by sugar and carbs. My body was never going to perform at the functions that it needed to as long as those things were in my diet. So unfortunately, as much as I love fruit and as much as I love bread and pasta and all those delicious things, my body at this moment cannot process those things correctly. It doesn't use them for energy. It doesn't use them for any nutrients. It's just storing fat. And a big part of that is because I have insulin resistance, which is a lot more common in people who are overweight or struggle with their weight. And I had all the symptoms of insulin resistance. And so as I started listening to videos by Dr. Ken Berry and all these people talking about how sugar and carbs feed that insulin resistance, and if you're not seeing weight loss progress, there's reasons for it, my eyes were just open. I was like, there's really no other thing I can do that's gonna tell me if this is the answer. And it was. As I started carnivore, those things, like, it was so hard for me to lose weight on anything. I mean, like, some people don't get on the scale for a year and they're like, oh, I've gained like 5 pounds. And then if I don't get on the scale for a couple days, I'll gain 5 pounds. Like, my weight loss and my weight in general just like fluctuated like crazy. And that's not normal. And it's a big part of it because I had insulin resistance. And so I just started diving deeper into carnivore, and I realized my body can't determine if this is a healthy sugar from a fruit or if I'm eating Sour Patch Kids. It doesn't know the difference. It's doing the same damage. And so once my body and my health come under control, I'm closer to a healthy weight. I'm in my BMI. I'm in all these things that are healthy for my build and my height. Then those things can maybe be introduced later down the road. How do you get started? This is where I was on January 30th. February 1st was fast approaching. I had committed to starting in February, and so I needed to get some things ready. The first thing I did, number one, you want to empty your pantry. And this can delay me for a long time. It has delayed me before starting a diet because I'm like, I don't want to waste all this food I just bought, but I don't need all that food. I don't need all the Christmas candy that I still had in my pantry. I don't need all the baked goods I still had. And so try and give it away if you can. Give it to people who aren't doing carnivore. But at the end of the day, do not let that stop you from starting. The 31st, I gutted our house. I emptied everything. I threw it away. I threw candy away, and I threw it in the trash can and took the trash bag out to the dumpster. I do not even need that in my house. It's gone. And so that is step number one. Your proximity to unhealthy food is going to keep you unhealthy. And I knew that I did not have the self-control off the bat to truly just like let it be in my house and not eat it. Like, that wasn't gonna happen. And so number one, clear out food you already have. Get rid of everything that does not fit the meat, seafood, dairy, fat. Get rid of it. That's number one. Number two is to make a grocery list. And this list can be simple, and it might seem like carnivore groceries would be super expensive, but thankfully there are so many deals you can do at grocery stores. But second thing you're wanting to do is you need to go to the grocery store and stock up on a variety of meats. So in my fridge, these staples stay. I always have ground beef. I always keep sausage, eggs, bacon, shrimp. I keep fatty fish if I want it, and I don't eat fish as often, but I'll keep fish. And then whenever it's on sale, I will buy steak. And I shared it in a past video, the process of saving money on buying steak and how we do that. And those are the things I would invest in first, okay? The third thing I would say is be strict from day one. Whenever I started in February, I had this mindset of, oh, I know what affects me. I know what I can keep in my diet and what I can't. And because of that, I kept some spices in. I kept Coke Zero in, love of my life. I just wrote those off as like, that's fine. I can do that. I've already done this before, been there, done that. That was such a bad mindset to have because those things stalled my progress. And in the month of March, I committed to getting rid of those entirely. I have made a mistake. I have had 1 or 2 Coke Zeros, and I don't know if you can see, I have a pimple right there. That came back. That literally came up on the day after I drank Coke Zero. So don't fall for it. It's better if you just stick to carnivore through and through on your first 30 days. You will be shocked at the results you see if you really commit and really give it your all that first 30 days. Look at the kitchen tools that you currently have. I use an air fryer every single day. And if you don't have an air fryer, there are always deals on them. You don't have to get some big fancy one. You can look at your local Goodwill or thrift store or Facebook Marketplace and see if you can find one before you get started. I am telling you, this kitchen tool, if I could tell one thing to have in your kitchen, it would be an air fryer. And and I have one that has 2 compartments. If I could trade it out for one, it would be one big tray, but right now I'm not going to spend money on that. So get an air fryer. It makes such a huge difference. It makes the meat and the recipes that you can do so much crispier, and it'll just add flavor. I'm telling you, get an air fryer. I would also invest in a vacuum sealer for making sure that your food stays sealed and frozen, especially if you're buying steaks. One of the things that I used to always do whenever I was eating whatever I wanted, I would waste groceries constantly. And a big reason for that is I would assume I'm gonna cook it in a couple days and then it would go bad. You know the drill. And then you're throwing away stuff and you're like, how did I do this again? It's not any different with carnivore if you are not paying attention to how long your meat's been in the fridge. Vacuum sealing and storing it in your freezer for a long period of time is a game changer. This is something that I'm working towards getting. My parents have one, so like when I buy steaks, I vacuum seal them at their house because I know that it's gonna keep, and it's gonna keep good. The third tool that I would get, I also have, but I don't use it as frequently, is a sous vide. If you have never heard of a sous vide, essentially this cooks your meat, the internal temperature of your meat to being perfect, so that all you're having to do is sear something on the stove or on the grill. And so I love my steak medium rare, and I can set it to 132 or whatever medium rare is. It will cook my steak all day in a bowl of water and then I just have to put it on the grill and it's perfect every time. So a sous vide would be a big one that I would get. You don't have to have it. I'm just saying it would make your life really nice. I would also invest in a hand pulser for your electrolyte mix. That's going to be a really good tool to have. A meat thermometer. These are all practical things, but they're things that make a big difference because you want to make this transition as easy as possible. Statistics show that the more difficult we make it on ourselves to transition into something that's already hard, the less likely we are going to be to stick to it. So make your life easier by getting these things in advance if you can. If you can't, you can still have success on carnivore. The next thing I would say is you should start meal planning, and this is something that I try and do at the beginning of each week, is look at the week ahead and see what's coming up on my calendar. How many days of the week am I going to be away from home at nighttime or cutting it close to where I need to have something already prepared. You will hear a lot of people on carnivore say that they just eat 1 billion gallons of bacon and eggs, and I am an egg lover. Like, I literally could eat an egg constantly, so that doesn't bother me. But have other things in your pantry, in your fridge, that are going to keep you satisfied, because you don't want to find yourself in a crisis and you don't want to be unprepared. Meal planning and meal prepping are the biggest ways that you can avoid some of those mishaps on the front end, and it can also bring variety. A lot of people claim that they get bored during carnivore. I understand. At the beginning, I was so easily bored and I needed that food variety. So buy shrimp, buy sausage, buy steak, buy all the different meats. Don't just stick with burger patties, eggs, and bacon, okay? You'll be able to get there eventually, I swear. Don't do that at the beginning if you don't want to. Like, I really encourage you to have a good vault of meat options. The next thing I would encourage you to do is take before photos and take your measurements, because even when you're not seeing anything changing on the scale, I promise your body is changing. And I shared in my last video, in the month of February, I only lost 10 pounds, and that was kind of discouraging to me because when I did carnivore the first time, I was losing easily 20 to 23 pounds a month, and so this did not feel like a very big victory. And honestly, I lost more on animal based the month before, and so I was upset. But my clothing sizes have changed and I'm already feeling so many health effects. Write your weight down, keep track of it, keep your measurements written down. My mom keeps a health journal, so she literally starts to write down her symptoms. If she feels bad one day, she's like, what did I eat the day before? Or she just starts to mark all those health benefits she's seen. Like, I know that on day 4, my carpal tunnel and my like tingly, like sleepy hands were already gone. There was no way my body was like completely rid of all the toxins and sugar and stuff that I'd had. So keep a health journal, take your measurements, take before photos. In January of 2024, I took a video of myself. That video, I have not watched it again. I don't want to watch it again, and maybe I'll share it one day, I don't know. But in that video, I am crying. I'm at the highest weight I've ever been in my life, and the highest weight I will ever be in my life. And I'm just like broken in that video over what I had done to my health and where I was at a weight I never thought I'd get at. I'm so glad I have that now, because I'm so different now, and I will only keep getting further away from who that was. And so one day I'll watch it again. It's in my like hidden camera album, and like I'll see it sometimes and I'm like, that just makes me sad because I was so different and I didn't have any hope or like any positive outlook on the future because my health was just so non-existent. Take photos, take videos if you feel like it, take measurements down. That way it's going to be like a trophy every time you look back at that, and you're going to be motivating and encouraging yourself. There's no doubt in my mind that when people find out you're on carnivore, they are going to have something to say about it. Whether it's on social media or your own family and friends, they're going to ask you like, why are you just eating meat? I don't understand. That's crazy. That can't be healthy. And I will just share with you, this is a cheat code, okay? This is what I tell people. I tell people when they ask me why I'm doing carnivore, I say, first of all, within the first week of being on carnivore, aside from the weight loss, my joint pain was gone. My inflammation, swelling, bloating, it was gone. I had so much energy. I had mental clarity. And that week alone told me this was worth it, even if the scale wasn't changing. And I will also usually tell them that because I have insulin resistance, my body is not breaking down sugar and carbs the way it's supposed to. And so it's not fueling my body, it's being stored as fat. And so I already knew from doing keto that my body really responded to a high fat, high protein diet, but taking it a step further and eliminating anything artificial and anything that had added sugars and chemicals, I feel like everything I put in my body is clean, and I know that it is as organic as possible. And one of the things I love that Dr. Ken Berry says, he says the worst quality meat, like if you go buy like the cheapest hot dogs in the frozen food section, is still better for you than other carb-filled, sugar-filled foods. If you can't buy organic, I don't buy organic. I sometimes do if it's on sale. I buy regular chicken, the one that says with rib meat. You know, that chicken. Like, that's what I can afford right now. Maybe in the future that'll change, but for right now, I buy what I can afford, and it's worked perfectly fine. So if you want to use my cheat for what I tell people when I'm on carnivore, and then I'm like, you should try it. And then of course they're gonna be like, I don't want to try it. And that's fine. Your results will speak for themselves. People do not have to understand why you're doing it, but they will see those results speak for themselves, and you're going to feel so good. It's not going to matter. And while you're looking for a community or looking for people who have your back, there are so many amazing channels here on YouTube, on TikTok, so many people who have shared their stories and shared their health journey. It's so encouraging. And so if you're doing it by yourself without a partner, join us here. I'll be your partner. There are so many people documenting this step by step. I hope this video has been helpful. And if you decide that you're going to start carnivore today or work your way up to it, starting on keto, starting on something that's high fat, high protein, I want you to tell me in the comments. Let me know. And if you're already doing carnivore, leave comments for them to read about things that helped you from the get-go. I'd love to hear what you did that worked for you and how you made it through your first 30 days. I promise you are only going to struggle at the beginning. Your mind is going to be totally changed when you realize how good you feel. So don't worry if you are struggling at first. We've all been there. It's going to pass, and it's going to be so worth it on the other side. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video has been helpful, and thank you for all the sweet comments and encouragement. After I finished my first 30 days, I knew that I wasn't going to stop. It's just one of those things when you start, you can't fathom going more than 30 days, but here I am. I promise you, I'm not quitting anytime soon, and I'm feeling so good. So thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed yet, I'd love for you to be part of our community, and as we get our health back in 2025, motivate one another and encourage one another. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you Thursday.